they're going to go to fucking federal prison. Federal fucking prison.
The MMA world has been shaken by a shocking FBI investigation that no one saw coming. Reports suggest that several fighters are being investigated for fight fixing and illegal betting, with millions of dollars unaccounted for. As the probe deepens, what's being uncovered could change the UFC forever. Behind the octagon doors, the FBI's findings have left fans stunned and angry. This isn't just another controversy, it's a scandal that sent shockwaves through mixed martial arts. To trace how it all began, we go back to November 5th, 2022, UFC Fight Night 214. It wasn't a big-name card, and most fans didn't expect anything out of the ordinary. But one preliminary fight, Darrick Minner versus Shailen Nurdanbika, would end up sparking one of the most talked-about investigations in UFC history. Hours before the fight, something strange started happening. Betting markets saw unusual, heavy wagers being placed. Not small amounts, but massive bets, all predicting Nurdanbika to win in the first round. Moments later, the odds shifted dramatically, with Nurdanbika becoming a huge favorite. Such a sharp move doesn't happen without inside knowledge, and when the cage door closed that night, the events that followed confirmed everyone's worst suspicions.
Fight in particular, the line changed right before the fight from I think the favorite was maybe minus 220 or something like that to then negative 450, which is a 4-1 favorite. And more specifically, it was of a KO in the first round, and it happened in 48 seconds.
It took just 48 seconds for everything to fall apart. Right after the fight began, Darrick Minner appeared to injure his knee, barely able to move. And Shailen Nurdanbika quickly capitalized, ending the bout with a flurry of strikes. The fight played out exactly as the suspicious bets predicted, a first-round finish. In MMA, fast knockouts aren't rare. But when a specific result perfectly matches a sudden surge of targeted betting, something doesn't add up. That's when sportsbooks and investigators started digging. And one name kept surfacing, James Krause. Krause wasn't just a random coach. He was a former UFC fighter and the head of Glory MMA and Fitness, known for developing top prospects and respected for his sharp fight IQ. But behind that image, Krause was also deeply involved in MMA betting, far more than most realized. That obsession would soon turn into the biggest scandal of his career, and one that would shake the UFC to its core.
I won't even say his name, but one of these trainers was apparently aware of injuries and then informing a group of people online who are betting.
James Krause ran a group called the 1% Club, a Discord community and YouTube channel where he shared betting advice and fight predictions. Sharing betting tips isn't illegal, but Krause's operation went much further. Investigators later found ties between him and an offshore sportsbook called abcbetting.ag, where he allegedly acted as an agent, taking bets from fighters and others within the MMA scene. That's when things started to look serious and deeply suspicious.
For alleged substantial involvement in ongoing James Krause investigations. Substantial.
Yeah, he was on, I've heard a thing that he was on his Discord, and he said that, Jeff Molina said that, I paid my mortgage, my house, my phone bill, everything with this Discord right here. Make sure you guys join it. So he was pushing it hard.
Darrick Minner, the fighter at the center of the suspicious November 2022 bout, was trained by James Krause. Before the fight, Minner was reportedly dealing with a knee injury that was never made public. When the fight began, that injury became obvious. He aggravated it almost instantly and was finished in under a minute, just as the suspicious betting trends had predicted. But this story didn't end with one fight. Investigators later found that Krause's Discord community had nearly 2,000 members, all using his betting advice and tips. This wasn't a casual group. It looked more like an organized network using insider knowledge to profit from MMA fights, and Krause wasn't the only one under scrutiny. Enter Jeff Molina, a rising UFC flyweight from the same gym, Glory MMA. He was considered a promising prospect until investigators discovered he had also been betting on UFC fights, including bouts involving his own teammates. Even more troubling, Molina reportedly placed bets on the Minner versus Nurdanbika fight, fully aware of Minner's injury. That information came from inside the gym, from conversations among teammates, and coaches, giving him access to insider details the public didn't have. And he used it to bet against his own teammate. Let that sink in.
Dana White addressed the issue publicly.
And just wanted to get an update from you. We haven't heard you in this forum talking about the betting investigation that's going on. I know there's only so many things you can say, but is there any updates you can give us on what's going on currently?
There's literally nothing I can say about that.
Reports claim that Jeff Molina made enough from gambling to cover his mortgage, bills, and living expenses, all through profits from Krause's betting network. He didn't just participate, he actively promoted the Discord, encouraging others to join and expanding what looked like a growing ring of insider betting. To understand why fighters might take such risks, you have to look at the financial reality of the UFC. While stars like Conor McGregor or Jon Jones earn millions, most fighters, especially newcomers, make between $10,000 and $20,000 per fight. That money gets divided between show pay and win bonuses, and before long it's eaten up by expenses. Fighters cover training camps, coaches, nutritionists, management fees, and taxes, costs that can total tens of thousands of dollars. After everything, many walk away with less than half of what they earned. On top of that, UFC athletes receive only about 16-20% of the company's total revenue, compared to roughly 50% in leagues like the NFL or NBA. Since fighters are independent contractors, not employees, they don't get benefits like health insurance or pensions, a long-standing issue that's fueled debates and lawsuits for years. So when the betting scandal broke, fans and reporters demanded answers. What did the UFC know? When did they know it? And how would Dana White respond once the story went public?
People ask me, well, what were they talking about? Somebody was saying, well, what's the UFC going to do? We let these guys know not to bet on fights. Do you know what the outcome of this is? Like, if I penalize them, you get cut. They're going to go to fucking federal prison. Federal fucking prison.
When asked about the situation, Dana White gave a cautious response. Understandable, given the ongoing federal investigation. But as the press conference went on, his tone made one thing clear. Anyone caught in betting scandals or insider schemes would face serious consequences.
There's an investigation going on, and see how it plays out.
How concerning is this for you about like kind of the integrity, not only of this organization, but just the sport as a whole?
Zero. I'm not worried about it at all.
Dana White's public confidence aside, the fact that a federal investigation has been ongoing for years suggests this is serious business.
The consequences of this scandal went far beyond the UFC. Those involved weren't just breaking company rules, they were potentially facing federal charges, including fraud, conspiracy, and racketeering. While Dana White claimed the organization only knew what the public did, the truth was more complicated. The UFC had betting partnerships, monitoring tools like US Integrity, and a vested interest in protecting its image. It wasn't just watching from the sidelines, it was actively working to track and prevent suspicious activity. So what happened next? The fallout was immediate. Derek Minner was cut from the UFC entirely. No suspension, no appeal. His career ended overnight. The message was clear. Anyone involved in insider betting or injury concealment had no place in the organization. Then came James Krause, the coach at the center of it all. He was banned from all UFC activities, his gym blacklisted, and his fighters forced to relocate. Careers were disrupted, and athletes who had no part in the scandal found themselves starting over. Jeff Molina was suspended as the investigation continued. Though not officially released, his future in the sport was effectively frozen, but the UFC's response didn't stop there. In late 2022, the organization rewrote its athlete conduct policy, officially banning all fighters, coaches, managers, and family members from betting on UFC events, a rule that hadn't been this strict before. They also tightened security through real-time betting monitors, allowing early detection of unusual activity, the kind that had exposed the Minner fight in the first place. Fast forward to October 2025, and the FBI investigation is still ongoing. No arrests, no charges, no closures. 3 years later, questions remain about what investigators have uncovered, what evidence they're holding, and what this means for the future of MMA integrity. Despite Dana White's confident public stance, the ongoing federal investigation shows just how serious this case really is. The FBI doesn't spend years on minor issues. They're not chasing policy violations. They're building cases that could involve fraud, racketeering, and conspiracy, all carrying heavy prison time. As of October 2025, James Krause is still under investigation. He's moved into real estate, reportedly millions in debt, with his gambling network, the 1% Club, completely shut down. His coaching career is finished, and his name in MMA is effectively destroyed. The Nevada State Athletic Commission, NSAC, also took action. In March 2025, it issued long-awaited rulings. Derek Minner suspended 2 years, retroactive to 2022, and fined. $200 Jeff Molina, suspended 3 years and fined. $235 for betting on Minner's fight while knowing about his injury and misleading. Investigators. Krause received an indefinite suspension and lost his coaching license, making a comeback in Nevada almost impossible. Minner has since disappeared from the spotlight, but could technically return to fighting. Molina, whose ban ends soon, has joined Bare Knuckle FC, where he broke his silence, defending Krause and calling him a misunderstood coach rather than a criminal. Meanwhile, the UFC overhauled its integrity policies. Betting on UFC fights was banned for all fighters, coaches, and family members. Gambling in some regions like Ontario and Alberta was even suspended until tighter systems were in place. So far, no new betting scandals have surfaced, but that doesn't mean the problem is gone, just that the players might be hiding it better. Online, fans have been divided. On Reddit, hardcore MMA followers debated the scandal intensely, revealing deep distrust toward the UFC's integrity. Many sympathized with fighters' low pay and financial struggles while still condemning their actions. Others argued that underpaid athletes are being pushed into risky behavior. Krause was ridiculed as reckless for openly discussing betting, while discussions about fighter pay reignited demands for unionization and revenue sharing, as UFC athletes only receive around 16-20% of total revenue, compared to roughly 50% in other sports. Some users even compared the UFC's business model to exploitation, pointing out that fighters face massive expenses, training camps, coaches, management fees, and taxes, leaving them with little take-home income. Across platforms like Quora and Twitter, X, the tone was similar: frustration, cynicism, and disbelief that after nearly 3 years, no one has been criminally charged. Many see this as proof that the system protects itself. As of late 2025, the FBI investigation remains open. Krause is bankrupt but free. Molina is fighting again. The UFC's integrity systems are stronger, at least on paper. But the question remains, was justice truly served? Or was this scandal just another chapter in a sport where money, loyalty, and ethics are constantly at war?